Hey guys, welcome back. I recently purchased a flat panel TV for my bedroom. The only problem is it's sitting on a dresser along with a DVD player and a cable box, so the dresser's getting a little crowded. My wife suggested that we mount the TV to the wall. Now, I understand that there's commercial TV mounting kits available, but I figured I'd come out to the shop and see what I had lying around that I might be able to use. I came across a couple extra French cleats I had lying around. Now, these French cleats were just from a cabinet project I was working on, and if you're not familiar with them, they're just a couple pieces of wood that have 45-degree cuts on their edge, so that whatever you want to hang, you mount one piece to, and then you mount the other piece to the wall. They interlock real nicely, they're cheap and easy to use, and they hold a lot of weight, so I was going to try and utilize those. Also, from my last project, a little wooden stool, I had a couple of these little wedge pieces left over that were sitting in the burn barrel, so I was going to try and use those. As far as mounting the TV itself, I just had a 1/2-inch piece of plywood that I was going to cut a little chunk out of to make a plate to bolt to the TV. It's not an overly complex project, but let's get started. I started out by cutting the French cleat to length. Then I cut the plate for the back of the TV out of the 1/2-inch plywood. The mounting holes on the TV were 4 inches by 4 inches, so I marked it accordingly. I center punched the holes so that the bit didn't wander. The small French cleat would then mount to the 1/2-inch plywood via 4 screws and some glue. I used a countersink bit so everything was flush. This assembly was going to be the portion that mounts to the TV. I then squared up the leftover wedges. And cut the longer French cleat to length. A handy little tip if you only need to cut a tiny amount off the length of a board, put the saw down, then run the board into the blade, lift the blade, and then perform the cut. It removes about a 64th to a 32nd of an inch. I then marked and drilled the mounting holes on the larger French cleat that would mount to the wall. Time for a little bit of paint. When you're done pouring the paint into the tray, you always get runs and drips on the side of the can. Use a clean brush to wipe up any of the drips on the side of the can, then clean out the channel that the lid goes into with the brush as well. This definitely makes for less of a mess. Also, to ease and clean up, make sure to wet your brush and your roller before applying paint. This makes cleanup time a whole lot easier. I went with flat black because I had it lying around, but then also most electronics are black. Watching paint dry. I then moved all the equipment aside so I could get to work. Here you can see me taking measurements for the height of the French cleat. I made sure that I mounted into the studs. Here's an idea of what it should look like. I like to use a little lunch bag taped to the wall just below where I do my drilling. That way all the drywall dust falls neatly into the bag. I insert a drill bit into the first hole in the wall. Then I make sure it's level and mark the other hole. Once the screws were tight in the French cleat and the wedges, it wasn't going anywhere. Here I'm just showing the assembly and how it would hang on the French cleat. Attaching that assembly to the back of the TV, I ran into one little problem. The screw heads on the bottom protruded past the 1/2-inch plywood, not giving me enough clearance from the French cleat. So I removed the plate, counterbored the holes, and I was back in business. Hanging the TV on the French cleat.
Of the centerpieces together using half-lap joints, and
as of right now, I'm thinking that I will release my new videos every Friday. If you like this video, make sure to check out my other ones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. I'm somewhat new here to YouTube, so let me know how I'm doing in that comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so.